joining the meditation. And now, without any delay, let's go into our insights from the book Celestine Prophecy, written by James Redfield. So here, masters, in the last session, it's like a continuation of fourth insight. So in the last session, we noticed about how Marjorie met again James, and also the new character got entered into our story. That's Robert Jensen. So he is leading a group with Marjorie and many other people. And now to continue, so he said in the last week we got to know that Robert Jensen welcomed James into his group. And now the continuation. So Robert Jensen asked James to join in their group as they need more members in finding this manuscript. But what Jensen said is, you all have to be willing to do exactly as I say, every step of the way. Now, this insight is bit of communication, bit of energy exchange. So when we communicate, so each and every word from the person is very important. So we have to observe that energy in that. So you observe. So try to observe the energies of the words which Jensen has spoke to others. You all have to be willing to do exactly as I say, every step on the way. So James was confused whether to accept the offer or not. At the same time, he was thinking about faith on will, because will is the person who is helping, starting from the inside too. So as soon as James entered, James arrived to Paru, so Will is accompanied with him. So he is thinking about to offer to accept the offer of Jensen or not. So suddenly the large man walked into the room again and looked out the window. So Jensen was quickly up and looking. Then he turned to Marjorie and in a casual tone said, "Someone is coming. Go ask Kenny to come up here, please." So James saw a truck light approaching and vehicle parked just outside the fence. This is all going on in Robert Jensen's place. So Jensen said to James to stay inside as it could be a trap. But something about the person by the truck seemed familiar to James. So he opened the door and walked outside. As soon as Jensen saw James, so he quickly turned and walked to James and said, "So what are you doing? Go back inside. Go back inside now," Jensen said. "It could be a trap." So he was standing directly in front of James, blocking James' view of the vehicle. "Go back inside now." So James felt totally confused and panicked, unable to make decision. Distantly, James heard a voice, "Come here, I need to talk with you." Then as the figure approached, James realized that it was Will. So James rushed past to Will. Now a little bit of conversation goes on like this, masters. So we have to connect with this conversation. Just try to observe those energies. "So what was wrong with you?" So Will asked to James. "We need to get out of here." "But what about Marjorie?" So James asked. "We can't do anything about right now," Will said. "We would better leave." We started, James and Will started to walk when Jensen called out, "You would better stay here. You won't make it." These are the words from Robert Jensen. James glanced back. Will stopped and looked at James, giving him a choice to stay or go. "So let's go," James said. And here we have to notice, so though Will came to take back James, but he left the choice to James to decide whether to come with him or to stay with Robert. So here, Will is not dominating. So he is letting James to decide his own decision. So we have to, so when we are saying or conversing some words, masters, to others, so when we are advising, so sometimes we give some suggestions or advices. So there we should not force them to accept our words. Let them decide. This is what Patri sir has taught us. So he said, Patri sir always says, see, you have to experiment. You need not accept my words. So we have to experiment, and then you will get to know. So what is that? What is that insight, or what is that wisdom? Is that the true essence? So here, so Will has given him the choice to whether to decide to stay with Robert Jensen, or to come with him. So then they got into the truck, started with their journey with two others in the truck. So then James has decided to go with Will. So meanwhile, Will shared in their journey. Meanwhile, Will shared about Robert Jensen to James, saying that so whatever he got to know about Robert Jensen, so he is sharing with James. So Jensen, works for the Peruvian government. He is a real archaeologist, but he is committed to keeping the whole thing secret in return for exclusive rights to study the manuscript. Only he was not supposed to go looking for the missing inside. Apparently, he decided to violate that agreement. He is rumored to be leaving soon in pursuit of the ninth. This was the information Will gathered about Jensen. So when Will got to know how Jensen tried to convince James, because he was present there, so Jensen was forcing James to stay with with their group. So Will said to James that he really tried to hook him. So hook who? James. What do you mean? James asked. You should have seen your energy. This was a Will said. You should have seen your energy field. It was flowing almost totally into his. When James didn't able to understand it, Will try to explain in the following way. Now think back to Sarada's argument with the scientist at Vincente. If you had witnessed one of them winning, convincing the other that he was correct, then you would have seen the loser's energy flowing into the winners, leaving the losers feeling drained and weak and somewhat confused, the way the girl in the Peruvian family appeared and the way that you look now. The Peruvian family, if you remember, in the last session we have discussed about a drama that where Will, Chris, and James, they had dinner in that family. So there was a drama with the little girl, with a young girl there. So that was so you have to recollect. So Will is saying, so recollect all those experiences. So what you saw with these people, and this is what exactly happened to you now. And it was extremely difficult for you. So this Will is continuing. And it was extremely difficult for you to stop his control of you and to pull yourself away. I thought for a minute you were not going to do it. So Will thought he is going to be in control of Jensen. That guy must be really an evil. So James said, not really, Will continued. He is probably only half aware of what he is doing. He thinks he is right to control the situation, and no doubt he learned a long time ago that he could control successfully by following a certain strategy. So these people who are controlling, they have certain strategies. And what the strategy is? So this is Jensen's strategy, what Will have observed. So he first pretends to be your friend. Then he finds something wrong with you, with what you are doing. In your case, that you were in danger. In effect, he subtly undermines your confidence in your own path until you begin to identify with him. As soon as that happens, he has you. So this is only one way of many strategies people use to con others out of their energy. You will learn about the remaining ways later in the sixth insight. After listening to Will's words, James started to think about Marjorie. So how she's going to handle that situation with Jensen. So he's a bit of dangerous person. So he wanted to try to get out Marjorie from them, from that group. But so when he shared that thought to Will, so Will denied and saying that they need to talk first with her. After a few minutes of silence, Will asked James, "Do you understand what I said about Jensen not realizing what he was doing? He is no different from most people. He just does what makes him feel the strongest." So, and this is still unconscious in most people. All we know is that we feel weak, and when we control others, we feel better. What we don't realize is that this sense of feeling better costs the other person. It is their energy that we have stolen. Most people go through their lives in a constant hunt for for some else energy. Although occasionally it works differently, we meet someone who, at least for a while will will voluntarily send us their energy. So there are some people. So what Will is trying to make James understand is, some there will be like persons like Robert Jensen, but some they will share their energy to us. So how? Think back to when you and Marjorie were eating together at the restaurant in town, and I walked in. I don't know what you two were talking about, but obviously her energy was pouring into you. So if you remember the last session, so this is all went. So Marjorie met again James, and they had a little bit of lunch there. So then when Will saw the both of their energy, so Marjorie's energies was pouring into the Will's energy. So when I walked in, I could see it clearly. Tell me, how did you feel during that time? So Will asked it to James. So James said, I felt good. In fact, the experiences and concepts I was relating seemed crystal clear to me. I could express myself easily. But what does that mean? So Will started to explain. Occasionally, another person will voluntarily want us to define their situation for them, giving us their energy outright, the way Marjorie did with you. It makes us feel empowered. But you will see that this gift doesn't usually last. Most people, Marjorie included, are not strong enough to keep giving energy. That is why most relationships eventually turn into power struggles. Humans link up energy and then fight over who is going to control it, and the loser always pays the price. So this here in this, yes, Marjorie, in that at that time, Marjorie is giving that energy to James. So what Will is trying to make all of us, including James, to understand is, though we allow some persons, though we allow people to express their views, but we are not doing it continuously. So somewhere we are stopping that energy and making other people I mean, they are coming into our energy, but is we are after certain time we try to dominate. So this is what happens, and the relationships also. So then we'll try to summarize James' experiences exactly. So he's making much clear to James. Meeting Chris. So how you felt when you meet Chris? A drama of the Peruvian family, relating the girl, and meeting Jensen about discussions happened there. Think about all those people, and think about all those conversations. And then he handed over a copy of Fourth Insight to James from his bag. So understanding the fourth insight, it said, is a matter of seeing the human world as a vast competition for energy and thirst for power. Yet, once humans understand their struggle, the insight continued, we would immediately begin to transcend this conflict. We would begin to break free from the competition over mere human energy, because we would finally be able to receive our energy from another source. So what is that source? So James question Will. So what is that source? What is our source where we are receiving and we are making it feeling happy? So Will smiled and said nothing. So he said nothing. We know about Will much now. We can understand his. So the right time he gives advices, he gives help in the right time. So next is Will. So James has to learn on his own. So what is that source which is going to help us? We will see in the next session, masters. This is the end of fourth insight, the struggle for power, and we will enter into the fifth insight, the message of the mystics. So this is all about fourth insight. And now so Will has shared about taking benefit of others weaknesses. So this is happening from many eons. So mostly, so when we are facing, when we have certain weaknesses, other people, they try to cash, or they try to take advantage of our weakness. So here we have to, more than blaming others, first we have to be aware of our weakness, of our fears, and we have to be strong, not going into their energy. And most in the spirituality, we have seen so many people, how they try to encash, how they commercially take advantage of other people's weaknesses, masters. So please let us be aware, and let us also be aware of others. At the same time, let us be aware of our own self. Are we giving energy to other, or are we stealing other energy? Not even taking. So Will has mentioned a word, stealing. So we are stealing others energy. So this is all about fourth insight. If you would like to share your views, or if you want to add in your own words, you can unmute yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shardaji. It was so beautiful, music as well as the insight.
Thank you, Nainaji.
As you said, most of the time, if we look at ourselves, this energy exchange is happening. You know, there are so many times that we end up draining our own energy for somebody else's sake. So it is very beautiful that we, be aware of ourselves, what we are doing, whether we are stealing or whether somebody else is stealing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Nainaji. Thank you so much. Yes, masters, anyone, or shall we meet again? Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. Ram, sir.
Thanks a lot, Sharada Garu. It was a wonderful meditation. And, I think you have excelled in storytelling. It's so beautiful, because the way you end as well, you bring that curiosity to wait for the next week. So wonderful. And as you were sharing about these beautiful insights, particularly about how we exchange the energy, we become aware of how our day goes, and even around when we see the interactions between people, and we look through the exchange of energies. That's really awakens us and takes us to a space of doing things in the right way rather than stealing the energy. And then there was one particular point which you specified from the book about how this giving energy works in relationships, and it doesn't sustain for long, and that is why relationships don't go on. So when we become aware of this fact that we are in constant exchange of energies, And then we need to become aware and support each other in a different way, which means, you see, from the example or the way both Will and James, they are guiding each other. You see, that's a beautiful example we can see. And that's how one has to learn to lead one's own life experiences, becoming aware of how we are exchanging this energy in conversations, in our dealings with everyone around, our near dear, and even our colleagues or strangers. There is always this drive to win over arguments that is constantly there with almost many of us. And that is where we have to become aware of this energy exchange. So are we stealing? Then again, it's a part of a karmic cycle. If we speak about energy, but then behind, we are talking about karmic cycle, and then we have to learn a lot there. So as you were sharing these insights, some other insight is when, Will is gradually giving him these insights, copies of insights. And there is some interesting layer of, exchange that is happening. You see, James is ready, willing to learn, and in a very accepting mode, without a hurry. Although there is a hurry to learn, to know about these insights, yet there is patience there.
Oh, wow.
And that is when you notice that as the time arrives for a person to learn something new, the new insight is given. So we can also relate it to each one of our own spiritual journeys, or even, the physical world experiences. It is the same. There is no difference between spiritual and physical or material. So it's beautiful the way you are sharing, and many things, although there is one line, it has so much of information behind. So thank you, Sarada garu, and thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for summarizing. It's a very, it's another angle. Yes, though James is in hurry, so Will completely taking back his energy. He's not controlling Will. So wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the messages, masters.
Shardakara, I have seen
yes.
Olinda Revelo who have unmuted. Olinda, maybe you wanted to share something? Okay. Then I would like to share my thing as well, Sharda Garu.
Yes,
although I have been missing these sessions for quite a while, since I have watched the movie for more than 10 times, at least I can relate of what is happening. And today's topic, I really, really liked it and can relate also to all of my experiences and upbringing as well. And again, like for every message, I do not know why I also connect to Arcturians. But even in that book, they have stated, like, even in the thought process, they never interfere of how our logical thinking will be or how our thoughts will be. So they just said, like, we are the ones who need to give complete freedom to a person, and we have to teach them how to think and how to be aware of their own choices. And that's what they have mentioned. And even this book, I can see, like, knowledge is just the same everywhere. And I also would like to mention the small experience of mine. Even my dad always, he never interferes in my decisions. He always says, like, either good or bad, he just gives the direction, maybe which one you have to go. And he says, like, whatever the direction you take, I'll be there with you. That's it. He never also interfered which course I have to take or which direction I have to go. So in this way, that's where I have also developed a strong, like how to choose my own, how to go with my own choices, how to trust myself. And that's what I feel like, even in this thought pattern, somewhere also when someone shares a pain or something to us unknowingly or knowingly, will be sharing our experiences, or sometimes all it matters is just to lend our ears. That's it, with no other judgment. So thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful topic. Is how many times you share, like, always there will be some way or the other information which will be taken in a different perspective. So thank you so much once again for sharing this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nima, for sharing your own experience and about Orcutorians. It's a wonderful book, yes. So they would like to share one of the message that we have received from the Orcutorians. So it's all about emotions. So they said that they have some chambers, or there in that book it was mentioned that they have chambers to heal their emotions. So when I read that line, I was thinking, about Orcutorian. See, you have a wonderful gift over there in your dimension. You have chambers to heal yourself. But in this like 3D dimension, in our place, we don't have any type of such healing chambers here physically to heal. So how we can it's just what I am speaking within me, so it's like not connecting with them. So just I was casually thinking, so how we can do here. So I really, it's like magic. I even don't know. I went into deep state. I went into sleep. I can say as if some anesthesia given to a doctor has given anesthesia to a person who is going to operate. So at this, like that, instantly I went into a deep sleep. So in that sleep, they mentioned, so Orcutorians, they said the message that every time, so when there is if you observe that there is an argument is going on between you and the other, it is not necessary every time to reply. You better be silent, so that your emotions, you can control your emotions. So don't go into that energy. So that when you step back from that, so being in silence is also is a great step. So this is how you can control your energy. This is how you can heal better, even better. So this is what they said, and as soon as the message ended, I woke up. So it's a beautiful connection. It's a beautiful connection happened at the time with the Orcutorians. So thank you so much, Nilma, for again, it made me to recollect that experience. Yes. So thank you then, masters. So always, every day there is an exchange of energy, as Ram sir has mentioned. Let us be aware of those energies, even with us. Even with us, where each and every thought has energies. So when we think about that thought, just observe that, is that thought draining you? Is that thought is giving you the energy? So this is how we have to observe even ourselves too. So when we start with ourselves, we can sense others, right? So thank you so much. Then let's meet in the evening then, if at all no sharings. Shall we end, Nilma?
Yes, yes, Shraddha Garu. So thank you once again for this lovely session. And yes, masters will be sharing about the evening session details on the WhatsApp group. And thank you all, and have a great start into the day, or have a lovely night. Thank you so much.